It's asking me if I want to turn music off. Oh, it's on now. Yeah, good. I can't. I can't hear myself, but is there an echo? I, I can't. I can hear my own voice, but I can't hear any feedback
Right.
from the room.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay.
We're working on mics. Is this on? Doesn't seem like it's on. Okay, let me go get Annalise. Hello, my name is Rose Drew, and welcome to Poetry for All 2024. We are once again in the amazing National Center for Early Music here in the city of York. My co-host is Faye Roberts, and they are on the way. They will ideally be here very soon. In any case, I will be hosting, I believe I am hosting the first half. We'll find out. I believe I am. In any case, thank you very much for coming tonight. For you folks, yeah, come on, yay! This is amazing! Woo! We have been doing this since 2008. And we took 2 years off for COVID, but other than that, we have been doing this for a while, and this is the highlight of my year. I absolutely love it. At home, as you know, we are live streaming. Thank you for being there at home. Here in the audience, we are live streaming this tonight. So, make all the noise you want, and performers have fun, and we are going to have an absolutely amazing time tonight. Right. If there is a fire, we need to leave. And we will do this if we are in the main room, right out this door to my side, to the left of me. You go through the door. I have a ramp that the staff, Kate, will help me put down. And if you need the ramp, out you go, and you turn to the right, and there's a wooden fence about, I don't know, 30 meters down. If you happen to be in the foyer, in case anything happens and the alarm goes off, then you go out the front door and around to the side of the building, and again, try to aim toward the side. And Faye Roberts is here. They are here. Yay! Don't let them know, but I've noticed that they do like to have a dramatic entrance every year. But we'll just keep that among ourselves. So, in any case, helping me tonight with the slides as Faye gets ready is Elmi Wolfart. Joining us, Faye and I tonight, let me see if I got the list. I'm very distracted, but sorry. So, tonight we have Sylvia Marie. Yay! We have Natasha Tingle. Yay! We have F.R. Kesby. Yay! We have Mark Kazali. I probably said it wrong. Yay! And we are graced with the presence also of Rick Dove. Yay! Oh, this is fantastic. The room is filling nicely, and I hope everyone has a lovely time. Oh, God, and I knew I was forgetting something. So, my two sign interpreters are Sarah Cox, who's just in here. Yay! And I only know you as Hippie Jen. Hippie Jen! Yay! Oh, Jen Phoenix, it came to me. My mind is a sieve lately. It's been a busy few months. One of my poems will discuss that. Right, okay, so let me see. First up, we're having Dave Smith come up and say, like, he swears 10 words because I had to insist. Dave Smith is with the York City Council, and we'll just briefly say that, whatever he wants to say. He may say, I hate you, Rose, I don't know. Come on up. Do you want to come up, Dave?
Thank you.
No pressure.
Thank you. You've got all these wonderful artists, and you're starting off with the bloke from the council. So it's only going to get better. It's just very, very briefly, because you're not here to listen to me. So thank you for supporting York Disability Week. There's over 80 events over the next 7 or 8 days. Council. And we had no idea what to expect, and had such an awesome time. It's very difficult for us to get around to a lot of the events, but this one is absolutely the one that's top of our list. So please, please, please have a fantastic time, as I know you will. But again, thank you for supporting York Disability Week and this event, because this is what you do is amazing. You know that. All right. Bye.
We will be live streaming and filming tonight's performance, thanks to Sandy McGee. And next slide, please. Yes. That's me. Good. And now I do my poem. And I have to get my phone because in all the hoo-ha, I forgot to print my own poem. You may have noticed, if you hear, that I have an American accent. I voted for Kamala Harris. It has not worked out as planned. We have Twitler 2.0 coming in to the oh so very White House. So the title is a riff on a very famous sentence from Martin Luther King Jr. who believed with all his heart, as did we all in the 60s and 70s and 80s, that the arc of the moral universe was bending toward justice. Stay tuned. This arc bends backwards. I'm reminded of the way we all behaved almost everywhere after that dreadful September decades ago. The genuine kindnesses, the forced good cheer, but this time bestowed only upon half of us, received only from half of us. We have splintered into an us and them. Neighbor viewed with suspicion by neighbor, bonds destroyed, friendships at end. I'm wondering when the badges and the scarlet letters will arrive. The hopefully temporary brandings of skin, gender, and creed. The end of the united. The start of something else. This year, my boobie gave me breast cancer for my birthday. And I caught it really fast, and it's been removed along with the entire breast. And then they did a reconstruction, and you think the reconstruction will be something, and it is not. So this will be in a forthcoming book called Frankentit, and because it looks like Jack the Ripper came at me with a bad blade. When I saw it, I had to laugh. I'm sorry, it was funny. It is. Frankentit. Nobody tells you it's not pretty. You submit, thinking vaguely of a wannabe porn star, hoping to enlarge her horizons. With a discreet, smile-shaped curve lost among the lines, and a smaller, massive pouch slid in. This is not that. This is removal and stabilization, eviction, clear-cut and weed killer, survival. This is we want you gone test, as stylishly as possible, yet gone. Right across, the first thing anyone will ever see. A crooked, jagged smile up in one corner, so a smirk maybe. A smirk with fangs. Now, I should have a program or a running order, and yet I don't. Right. Up next will be someone who I've never heard perform before, but I heard from several. Ooh, I need a microphone. God, yes. Sandy's yelling at me. I love it. Right. I hope this is on. Yes, it is. Good. Right. Up next is a young woman that everyone was recommending to me. And so no pressure. I get to hear you as for the first time, as do other people. Welcome, Sylvia Marie.
Hello. This is the first time that I've actually been able to perform in my chair, so thank you so much. My spine is very grateful. My name is Sylvia, and I have a poetry platform called NDE Poetry, which stands for No Dry Eyes. So I write political, emotional, intense, and sometimes hopeful poetry. I've got 3 pieces for you today that centre around disability. The first one is called Bitter Seed, and it's my response to a government that largely wants me dead, which is the nice way of saying it. This is called Bitter Seed. Doomed to begin somehow at fault, but to the test expected to know, blame the rest, screech to a halt. Bitter seed, why won't you grow? Instructionless, but you can't stop. Green leaf envy, don't compare. Sunlight burns and each raindrop is just too painful to bear. Hope, I see, embedded deep, a stinging thorn, this useless weed. Toss such dreams into the heap and plead for nutrients you need. Starve, quench, drown, thrive. Look at them climbing high. Jealousy brings out your eyes. They left you soil spoiled, dry. Still they cry, bitter shoot, don't complain. Be grateful for the rain we share. Get to the top, we did the same. Your turn will come when we're done, we swear. Talentless, build your shrine from everything you won't achieve. Wilted aspirations, determinations fall like leaves. Clever, sad placation to somehow help you grieve. Inherited dysfunction, doomed DNA. Bitter flower yet to bloom, don't let your petals stray. They say it will be your turn soon. Starve, quench, drown, thrive. Look at them climbing high. Jealousy brings out your eyes. They left you soiled, broken, spoiled. Still, you try. Thank you. Thank you. This next one is a little bit less serious than that. This was inspired by a really close friend who let me know that they felt embarrassed when I vocalized my chronic pain by saying ow out loud. I did not take kindly to this, as you will see. My friend tells me to stop saying ow out loud, and I think, bitch. I think bastard. Don't you know vocalizing this helps? Selfish request. I think stay in your lane. Step the fuck back. You're lucky I'm not screaming 24/7. Scrap that. It's a privilege to hear these cries. How could you be so self-absorbed? I think idiot. I think prude. I think your horse is way too high and it's embarrassing for you. Why don't you put yourself in my shoes? I think shut the hell up. Nobody asked. Let's swap skeletons and see how long you last. I think don't kink shame. I think here we fucking go again. I think how dare you, judgmental doctor, phony pharmacist, nutjob nurse. I think, honey, I could be worse. I think everyone's staring, and you know what you did. Mocking the injured is low for you, kid. I think burst into flames, fuck your mind games, gaslit and fresh. I think of you crucified, begging for death. I think, why me, baby? But I nod my head. Sure, I'll keep it down, shove it down, like all the times before. Thank you. I'm a good friend, I promise. This last piece is called Florence Forget Me Not, and it's actually published with Poet's Choice, with a book coming out next year, about my experience of being in a women's refuge. And this was written afterwards when I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD at the grand old age of 23, and my feelings around a late-term diagnosis. It's called Florence Forget Me Not. Wide-eyed, wide-mind, outstretched limbs and a toothy smile, bouncing on one spot, Florence Forget Me Not, clumsy, klutzy and ditzy too, falling for the fun of it, back when adults didn't spit, glare and snarl at you. Best friends with the sunshine and enemies of boredom, fidgeting and dreaming were just the same, you told them, and teachers tried to slow your space with every so-called intervention, but darling, how you spun and soared, outstretched arms, armor and all, never afraid for the tumble and fall, no cure and no prevention. Sloppy cursive collections they mocked, and every single snail saved. The frogs on the playground, the spiders in trees spoke a language you didn't have to read. See, books smothered you gently, and they rocked you straight to sleep. And characters were kind when the others didn't care, so who could blame you when their worlds you shared? Who could blame you when you just weren't there? Hiding in the bushes for every show and tell, granted you had wishes and dreams, and stories swelled. In that small brain they all tried to train, now you can hardly remember their names, or the rules you memorized for each school day. Did they win? Did they get you? Like the shadows under your bed, did they win? Now you stand here with sense and semblance instead. The memories come back now, 2 by 2. Each animal speaks and tells you all just you forgot. When growing up elite, gifted child syndrome meant you couldn't wince or bleed. Now crumbling as an adult somehow feels like sipping tea. And knowing you can take your time and everything will still be fine. I'm trying to find a way back to me. I left her locked in a blank white room. I let the others bully and tear. I was scared. But there's no excuse there. I hope she still feels safe enough to crawl into my arms, and I'll place a daisy chain as a crown, and we will laugh, dance, sing, scream, shout, and holler. Who cares if that's not ladylike? Who gives a single bother? Funny how one word can unlock all that you once smothered. Wide-eyed, wide-minded, outstretched limbs, and a toothy smile. Bouncing on one spot, Florence, forget-me-not, clumsy, klutzy, ditzy too. Falling for the fun of it back when I didn't give a shit. For the whispers and rumors and stares and truth, adult truth. I should have severed every single word they tethered to you. And I'm sorry, little one, I'm sorry I forgot how to jump and spin, and fun was fed to me on a picket line of gadgets and gizmos aplenty. So I lost sight of the wires flashing in our heads, the urge to create and spill and make a mess instead. The memories return now. Injustice bears her head. But I will get us both out. I promise we'll get through. Being the brunt of all the jokes. The clown, always misspoken. A lonely witch drinking her potions. It was never you that was broken. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I was just finding out if Sylvia Marie had merchandise, and she says not yet. But stay tuned, stay tuned. Next up is Natasha Tingle. I think this is the first time we're actually performing in the same room, but we've been poets passing in the events on Zoom and other things, and you worked hard to get here, and I am so glad you did. Natasha Tingle, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a long day, and I'm really excited to be here. I grew up in two worlds. I had an Asian upbringing in a Western world, and the two sides just didn't work for me. Like, there was no place where I really belonged. And this is my way of blaming every single one of you for it. This is called I Stand in the Middle. I am a woman-shaped ridge with a sheer drop on both sides. You are the water eroding the hill on the leeward side. Every day you beat me down. I am too westernized. I am lazy. I am selfish. I'm argumentative. I am unfocused. I like boys. I like friends. I like sci-fi. I like DIY. I hate cooking. I hate cleaning. I hate letting it slide. I hate taking all this criticism. You, a mother, father, brother, pour scorn along everything I aspire to be, and your acid rain washes me away until your deep despair washes clean to my rock-solid root. Then you can splash all you please, you cannot reach my tufted ridge. I am a woman-shaped ridge with a sheer drop on both sides. When you are not the water, you are the gale on the upwind side. You take puff after puff, tiny little nibbles that eat the land. Paki. That means holy, I'll take it. Is that part of your culture? Yes, it is now. Go back where you came from. That's Nottingham, you fool. No, but where are you from? Oh, I see what you mean. A human mother. What about you? You support UKIP, that's no surprise. Brexiter, Remainer, staunchly dividing the country. How could you refuse refugee kids? Why buy the cheapest chocolate that's not fair trade? Oh, wait a minute. Why do I? Nibble, nibble, puff, puff, and a great big chomp. A tufted, uneven ridge, sheer drops, thick clouds, warrens to twist ankles in, altitude sickness. As pitted and scarred as you have all made me, these are the beauties and uglinesses that are my form and features. I am a woman-shaped ridge with a sheer drop on both sides. Just like the Underground Railroad, I am the road to a better future. I stand for myself. I stand against all injustice. I stand by my mixed-race family. I stand above the petty-minded. I stand in the middle. I stand. I stand. I stand. Thank you very much. As Rose mentioned, I do have a book out front that you can buy, and if you want me to sign it or anything, or even if you just want to come and say hi and tell me what you loved about what I've read, then please do. I'll finish with this. So, something most people don't know. 80% of the biodiversity of our planet is protected by just 4% of the population. And those communities are usually indigenous people being forced off their land by mining and farming and logging. This is a happy post-apocalyptic poem. It's called Indigenous Inheritors. The universe peers into our world through star-shaped holes in the sky. I've heard of stars. They are perfectly still, and yet they dance. I dance joyfully back to her as she gazes at me. I am her, she is me. I was born of stardust, lived in Big Bang plasma, shaped of apocalypse dust, dust, dust. I stand a witness. Generations carrying generational trauma will thank me. Despite it all, I survived, and now so must they. Their gratitude will give them strength. The sky bears witness also. She watched our oppressed ancestors, saw what was done to us, how we 4% stood fast until miners and farmers felled the rainforests, locked us into ever smaller cells of land, and finally, as an anthropological marvel, locked us into living museums. And the universe, she looked on. And the universe, she sucked in her breath, pulling oxygen out of our skies, killing crops, collapsing mines, flattening every building in the ensuing wars. My people were of the land. We took joy and sorrow into exile, oral stories held in our hearts beside love. Now we climb out of ourselves and venture forth, still the 4%, but with the other 96 gone. The universe has exhaled, gifted us back the world we care for. So we dance like the stars in the sky we've never seen and resume our posts as guardians of nature. Thank you.
Natasha, thank you. I love that. I'm actually working right now on a Native American reservation in America, and I'm going to tell you, yes, I love that poem. It's marvelous, marvelous. Right. The next performer was here last year as one of our support poets, and now they are here as one of our headliners, and I am so excited to welcome back F.R. Kesby. Come on up, my dear. Yay! Woo! I'm not sure about this microphone, if it's loud enough.
Is this microphone loud enough? Yes? Excellent. Somebody said it could be louder, did they say? Yes. I can use the other microphone if you don't mind. I can do it either way. Yeah? Yeah. No, this is fine. Oh. I can hear the difference. Yeah. Let the Fae with the brains do it, not the other Fae. Faye just whispered, "Don't touch it." I'm like, oh no, I'm really anxious about my hands now. That's what us Fays do. It's fine. It's all fine.
Oh, dear.
Put it in a bit further, maybe.
I don't know.
Right, we'll just give it a shot and see what happens. I'll turn myself off though, because I will drive my wheelchair off by accident if I don't. So I'm going to read a selection of poems mostly inspired by myths, fairy tales, folklore, that kind of stuff. But the first one is actually inspired by my great wish that one of those whales that was attacking boats would have attacked J.K. Rowling's boat. So this is Here Be Monsters. I'll send the orcas first, my black and white battering rams, making flimsy the intruders. Next, the eels, electric, frying oceans and beaches, make them fish bait. Then the leviathans to swallow them whole. Warning shots. As it will happen, my silver will tempt your fingers and catch in your netted mouths. You will invite me aboard, force me aboard, box me ready for sail. I will open my great mouth and swallow you whole. You have been warned. This one's Into the Woods, and I don't think I need to explain what fairy tale it's from. It was Hansel's idea, though of course they blamed Gretel. There's a house in the woods, he said, that's made of sweet lies, and we can live there forever, just you and I. It was Hansel's idea, though of course they blamed Gretel. There's a witch in the woods, he said, who lives in a honeycomb, and we can live there forever, our happy home. It was Hansel's idea, though, of course, they blamed Gretel. There's a place in the woods, he said, full of sugar and spice, and we can live there forever with all things nice. It was Hansel's idea, though, of course, they blamed Gretel. There's quiet in the woods, he said. We can be alone and free. We can live there forever, just you and me. It was Hansel's idea, though of course they blamed Gretel. There's bodies in the woods, they said, their numbers increasing one by one, and they'll live there forever, now that Hansel's moved on. So Peter Pan is actually my favourite film, so I thought, you know what, let's ruin it for myself. and did that thing where I thought too hard about the actual politics and feminism and tried to put it in a modern day context and was like, well, this is crap. So I wrote this, and don't tell anybody, but I wrote it during a work meeting, and yet somehow it's my favourite poem that I've ever produced. So this goes to show good things happen when you're not concentrating. This is Wendy As. What if Wendy had wanted to stay? If she had dug her fingernails into the wood flesh of her window frame, screamed to sleep dead parents instead, kicked and thrashed and bit and lost. How would that story go? A bird caged, forced to sing by a petulant master, a chained mother of a dozen unwanted brats, a storyteller who couldn't write her own story. When Hook took her, a jewel for his collection, a pawn in his game, would she fear his hand, not his hook? Would she long for the water, for the comfort of waves, for a weightless demise, for she knew the alternative, a crocodile with sharp teeth and skin too rough to touch? What if Wendy had wanted to stay, but the story we were sold stayed the same? What if after she was silent, part of a story she couldn't control, Wendy as mother, Wendy as harlot, Wendy as icon, when all Wendy was broken, her voice reduced to just a tinkle, pockets weighed down with acorns, lungs full of sting of sea air, skull and bones trapped in flesh too grown up for her tender age? What if Wendy had wanted to stay, had found arms to pull her back, strength or providence protecting her? Would she have sold her story? Wendy as victim, Wendy as survivor, Wendy as liar, Wendy as asking for it. If Wendy had wanted to stay, in what version of this story does she win? Wendy with a pen hovering above paper, frozen and burnt, a star, a supernova, a soaring bird making a map of the land below, pitfalls, fires, here be monsters. Wendy, pen hovering above paper in a static moment of decision. Whose story is she? Thank you. This next one is called Ghosts, and for those of you who don't know who the Ghost Girls were, they were women, because it was all women employed in those days, in factories, who painted the glow-in-the-dark paint on clocks and watches, and in order to do so, they would lick the paintbrush to make it into a lovely sharp point, dip it into the paint it on, repeat, until it suddenly came about, after many years of them saying, that it turned out they all had radioactive poisoning, because that's how they made the paint in those days. And it was a big lawsuit where it was basically a bunch of working class women against a bunch of rich white men. So you can imagine how that went. So this is Ghosts. They called us the Ghost Girls, for we left trails of light in our footsteps. We painted hypnotic smiles and eyeshadow stars and laughed as our freckles lit up the night. They called us the Ghost Girls, for we were the ones that left pieces of ourselves on factory floors, who made time but had none ourselves. They called us the Ghost Girls, for we were dead women walking. The zombies left alive fought, toothless and lame, brittle nails clinging to hope that we could change the world. They called us the Ghost Girls, for our fight didn't end with our death, our bodies and lives picked apart until we, flimsy women, faded and left glowing bones to tell our story. I never know what you're supposed to do while the clapping's going on, just like, oh yes, well done. Wonderful. The next one is inspired by stories about the pirate Anne Bonnet, who, in all the autobiographies, had a child at some point that disappeared and just stopped being mentioned in any of the histories. Like, there's no real indication of what happened to this child, except for some people theorize that she may have just dropped him off in Cuba and buggered off. So this is kind of inspired by that. You left me in Cuba. You were a plunderer, a pirate, treasure hunter, death maker. You sought gold. I was unwanted, inconvenient, shipwrecker, accident. You left me for the sea, and some days I understand. Some days I try to understand. You left me for love, for a woman just like you, an endless horizon and a boat made for two. I find you in books, in stories that might be true, but I know are lies. I found you in newspapers, pleading the belly, finally a baby you could make use of. I find you in rumors, died in prison, bought by your father, fled, married, mother to 8. I lose you again in the sea, the anonymity of water, the brutality of waves, the current ever tugging us apart. I find myself as a gap in your retellings, not a chapter, barely even a sentence. Anonymous child, location unknown, fate undecided. But I was always in Cuba, waiting for you to find me. The next one is called Kitsune, which for those who might not know, is a 9-tailed fox thing. There is a Pokemon inspired by it, which is how I knew it existed. 1, a barb, a sharp tongue and a snapping turtle mouth, breaking bones with words, teeth-bed smile, and an insult's distance from the crowd. 2, a string that ties your hands to mine, a toddler harness of need, a bondage love that knows no distance, for it will not let you get away. 3, water, salt spit in my hair, chlorine bleached arms, steam fresh skin, pruned grip, a roar, trapped in a seashell. 4, a thorn in the palm of my future, blood bright hopes dripping, the stone in my shoe, the frog in my throat, a break that cannot be caught. 5, love, the feather touch of willing skin and the still warm air of a year's old kiss, the memory of light and the gleeful wait for rain. 6, a question, a dog chasing a tail, a bumblebee at a window, a cat staring at something we can't see, a baby tasting its way through the world, demanding no answer, but simply to be asked. 7, a skeleton, prone to cracks, a broken scaffold of blue-tacked promises and paper-thin wishes. The fortune cookie of luck reads, someday you will fall. 8, an ostrich, head buried deep for what I don't know, can only hurt later, a paralysis of fear, an invisible rope holding me in place. 9, hope, not a flower in bloom, but a box of seedling cress held together by muscle tape and thank you notes. Cut off one head, and another is sure to grow. It's quite funny, I was saying earlier, I have a book, it is for sale, it is £5 at the merch table. There's literally only 40 copies left in existence because the publisher went under, not because of my book, don't worry. So if you want one, there's 20 out there, and if you miss it, you can come grab me. But it was quite funny that I wrote the whole book. The book was published, and it's as I was planning reading lists to go and, read from it places that I realised I'd written a book about grief, and I hadn't known. I thought I'd written a book about love. So there we go. But this is one grief poem that didn't quite make it into that book, so I thought I'd finish with this one, and it is dedicated to my late Aunt Penny. How could I forget you when you are the unburst bubble in my throat, the air that escapes the threadbare walls of my lungs? You come to me through the medium of pain, burning skin, a knife to the gut. Some days you make this body unlivable, a tomb sacrosanct to suffering. You live on in the echoes of my mother's howls as they ring through my ears, in splinters in fingers that held your coffin too tight. Your sister asks, how could you leave her? And I wonder, if you have left, why can I still taste blood? Thank you very much, and thank you so much for having me. I just want to say thanks to Rose and to the other Faye, the better Faye, the Faye who knows what's going on, for putting on this night. It's really wonderful, and there is not enough accessibility in poetry, and especially not enough accessibility for deaf people and for wheelchair people? Wheelchair people. So I really do appreciate the work that you do, and I'm really excited to carry on seeing what you do. But thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much.
Wow, it went a little strange. The intermission is gone a little strange. The slide looks a little bizarre. It looks odd. And anyway, it says intermission. Please refill your glass. Say hi to a friend. Use the loo. Look at our amazing merch, and that is true. And fill in the feedback forms, please, because we used that for funding attempts. ACE wasn't sure. Anyway, we use that for funding, and we'll use it for York Disability Week, and we use it to guide our future programs. And we'll be back in about 20 or so minutes. There is a lot of lovely things out there, and if you do buy something that represents Poetry for All, we've got these wonderful finger spelling cards that will help you try to aspire to doing BSL, and it's lovely. They're a quid. Honestly, the program is £5, and you get everybody's name who's been here in it, and all about us, and all about our interpreters and the rest of it. And then we have merch from several of the performers, and it's priced as marked. We take cash and we take card. And then there's the anthology from last year, which was amazing. And we still have a copy here. So I want to thank you very much for being here in the first half. Next up, we have Mark Kazali, we have Rick Dove, and we will be hosted really competently by Faye Roberts, who will also say things that I absolutely forgot to say in the beginning. And I'm so glad that Faye is here, because we need at least one grown-up in front of the room, really.
Thank you. It's good to be here, and looking forward to the second half. But wasn't that an amazing first half?
Yes.
We're going to get this fixed, but can we just say... Wonderful stuff. Yeah. So we do still continue to need your support, but you can do that by having a really, really good interval. And there are people there just want to say hello to the people on the live stream who are there. Your dog didn't believe that you were on the TV, and it had to go outside to check to see if you were there, in fact. Yeah. So just wanted to say hello to all the live stream people, and thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later. All right.
Yes.
Lovely.
Wonderful. Thank you so far. Come back, don't leave.
this one just as it is. And this one just as is. I think that's quite equal, isn't it? We're not far away. Those two are about the same, yeah. Okay.
Hello, gentlefolk. Can you hear me this time? Is the microphone behaving? No, it is apparently still very quiet. I am probably the quietest person who's going to be on this stage, so I will just have to get closer to it. Is the answer to that one. How about now? Is that better? Fantastic. Oh, a round of applause for volume. Okay. Hey. So, hello. Welcome to the second half. My name is Faye Roberts, and I'm going to be your host for this part. Just as a courtesy for anyone who needs it, I'm going to do an audio description of how I look. Sorry, I didn't tell you that I was going to be doing this already. So, basically, I'm wearing black trousers with big pockets. I'm wearing a red sort of silky shirt and a pinstriped waistcoat and a black fedora hat. I have a close trimmed goatee beard. And if you want a general overall impression, imagine with these boots a goth geography teacher got lost on a hiking trip on the way to a jazz concert, and you've probably got it. Yes, okay, fantastic. I'm going to watch back later to see how that's described. Fantastic. So we're here again in the lovely National Centre for Early Music. The acoustics here are they're just gorgeous, aren't they? And just the whole look of the place is rather, rather beautiful. Sometimes it feels like a lot to live up to, but luckily we have a fantastic programme in the second half that will be just as amazing as you've already experienced in the first half. I also want to make sure that people feel as welcome in terms of accessibility for fellow neurodivergent people. So, and also for anybody who has experiences of trauma, because obviously this is a poetry event, so we are going to be coming up with some topics that are going to be potential triggers, that we're going to need potential content warnings for, and all of that kind of thing. So I wanted to make sure that you know that you are always free to step out if something is too much, because you can always step back in again. We want to make sure that you know explicitly that you can step out and step back in again if you need to. We will do our best. I will certainly do my best to provide content warnings for my work. We don't mandate it, but if you find that something's tricky for you, you can always go. We also want to make sure that if you need to stim, if you have something that you need to do, as something is moving you so much that you need to tap your foot, you need to wiggle your fingers, all of that kind of thing, you're free to do so. Do not feel like you need to behave, you know, in the behaving way. Let's not. If you get so excited that you need to move, then move. Because let's face it, your performer is going to go, I made them do the thing, yes. So, yeah. Also wanted to ensure those of you who have not seen sign language interpretation before, when you see this is the same as applause. So you'll see some of us doing this and some people applauding, so it's just that's what that means. Cool. Right. Lovely stuff. I am going to do a couple of poems. One of them is from the anthology. And then I'm going to be introducing Mark Casley and then Rick Dove. And I'm really, really excited on two fronts. One, because I've never heard Mark before, and two, because I've heard Rick loads of times, and I'm just very excited to hear him again. I've been saying to Rose something like 70 times, we should have Rick up here. So it's all worked out. But I'm going to start by reading in a completely not plugging the anthology way from the anthology, because I'm very, very subtle. But I need to find that first. It just, every time I flick through it, I go, ooh, that's good. Seriously, I'm not just kind of plugging it. This is just very, very good anthology. It's got some amazing artists in here, including that Rick over there and that Rose over there. Okay, where's my bit? That would be useful, wouldn't it? All right, cool. Page 23, for those of you following along. This is Cartography. It was written as part of a workshop with Claire Trevien, Trevien. And the whole concept of the workshop was mapping your brain and body as a city. And this is one of the pieces that came out of it. This is the corner where you fall down, no matter how sturdy your stride. This is the discovery of other, the muttering continuo to even your happiest tune. Today is a good day, A bright, right-angled kind of day where the fight is invisible, sequestered, not a weight and warp in every gesture, flinch made flesh. Today the pavement is level, and you can anticipate curves, lean into the gradient that strengthens, lengthens muscles, doesn't drag you dry-eyed to wash against your brittle edges. The first time you read the word friable, you knew exactly how it felt under fingertips. You knew the texture of volcanic shards under tender growth. And nowadays you know the caldera intimately, have mapped it, classified its clear signs and subtle grumblings, know when to duck and cover, approximately. Some days are Sundays, hungover from nothing, drunk on stillness, the bitter dregs. Some days the earth rises jagged and unpredictable, a punishment for too much, a punishment for not enough, a punishment for nothing. You step around it, add new calculations, recalibrate, it's that or stop, tumble to the bottom again. Your map is a work in progress, sometimes just a reminder of how much the tilt has shifted, how far it has yet to go, lines scrawled in fatigue and pain, and yet another accustomed route, impassable. As the ground rises, your bounds shrink another inch, and you have to explain to visitors that this representation is not drawn to scale. You point to that corner, this corner. Pick your biggest pen. This is not where the ground starts, you say, but it's the first pin on the map, the first landmark, the first plaque. It doesn't matter. I don't expect you to remember. It cannot matter. Cheers. Okay. It's a little bit bigger. Okay, it's not going to work. I'm going to have to get the glasses on. Glasses which decided to break as I was getting them out of my pocket. Thanks for that. So, see how this goes. It's going to be fine. Right, this one is called Carnival. There should be the content notes at the top, but just to tell you, the content notes about social camouflage and metaphorical depictions of divergence. The thing about cleverness is that it's easy to fool yourself that this deft reconditioning of your social vessel, this precious crowd-proofing, is the truth. The thing about successful camouflage is that it can hide you from the fellows you never knew existed, all of you mistreathed, cheating the predators of their next meal. That thing where you look askance at the loud ones, those who've cast their leaves off, breathing freely if they ever hid their feathers in the first place, is not what you think it is. None of this is what you think it is. The first time you climb out of your diving suit in full view of company, shrug off its weight to say, here I am. Those submariners who've been signaling silently can join you, stretching metaphors around the galley table, saying, I feel so light. No longer over-interpreted, you are translated into colors that make sense, tumbling into wonder that the lack of filters brings. Me too, me too, me too, a ringing chorus of validation or just company and peculiarity. There was never any of this when I was young, you say, and it's a celebration of the discovery of new words, the right words, diagrams drawn by those who trusted in the illogic of being alone. And you are not alone. And this is terrifyingly wonderful, and vice versa. And you've always loved new words, hoarding them like sweets, like boy band posters that left you cold, like old dictionaries, like clothes that coded you as okay, like places where you could be barefoot, like bookmarks, like knives, like interesting bits of wood. I know I'm not the only one. Like pebbles for the pocket, like receipts rolled into soft-edged pills, like facts about 17th century vegetables, ask me after, like intricate finger shapes, like rocking softly, like people who didn't scoff, like breakups, like pain. And your intricately implemented assonance has drifted away in the face of remembered happiness and what it feels like to stay up late, time-blind behind the scenes with other creatures of peculiar plumage, talking and diverging and gesturing and saying sorry and not saying sorry and speaking in parentheses and nested parentheses and footnotes. I know some of you know exactly what this means. Gleeful in water that takes your weight, salted with memories of the near hits of your soggy past. And this sentence cannot last, but it's good enough for now. Tomorrow is shoes and modulated vowels and eye contact and sitting still, but also not apologizing. No more apologizing. Maybe wearing a scrap of bright feather nestled against your neck or in your hair, talisman against the difficult days, the normality, the sweetness of seeing another pair of eyes lighting, the small nod, the awkward laugh, the chance to seek out sweetness in the aftermath. Cheers. Hat back on, I am the host. I should put this back on, that didn't really work, did it? Hat back on, I am the host. I'm going to take these off so I can actually see. Look at that, fantastic. So I'm going to get Mark Casserly up to this microphone. I am extremely excited to hear what he's going to bring us because it's all going to be brand new to me, and you are going to echo that excitement by making all of the noises and gestures and welcoming things to make sure that he gets from over there to here in one piece and feeling welcome. Let's go!
Hello. Before I begin, I just want to say that without Chili Studios and Slamfresh, who are Newcastle-based organizations, I likely wouldn't be here. So props to them. Also, you can blame them if I'm rubbish. So, yeah, sure, yeah.
Theoretically. This is a very slightly professional moment for me, I'll have you know.
Better? Okay. This is called rerouting. A neurodivergent stress head, doom-monger extraordinaire with a penchant for paranoia and anxiety to spare. Of course, this was all news to me, though I gradually cottoned on. Apathy traded for therapy, trying to let go, not holding on. Telephone appointments granted for the telephobic king, and conversations carried on a wave of video conferencing. The sky seemed to clear a little. Drizzle seemed far more tolerable. But frustration still remained. A pain in the neck still reigned. Tai Chi seemed a solution, a sense of calm and gentle order, slowly moving and breathing, slowly seeing and being, until a class left the subject reeling. An activity with no grounding in the tranquil, a no-holds-barred and panicked race, battling to retain a ball. Tai Chi seemed left astray. Instead, pins and needles from head to toe, all along one single side. Slow motion became prominent. Challenging an unfamiliar ride. Motionless for several minutes, sipped water and bathed in floor. Got up, drove home, was convinced to phone 111 and 999. Ambulance denied, thanks to COVID times. Told not to go to A&E, just wait for a call from the GP. Told not to worry, just go see a doctor in the morning. Diagnosed as migraine issues, and with that, no further warning. Just pills prescribed for pain. A week later, a stroke took hold. Speaking was no option. A loss of control. Bits of sight were taken. Memories went a while. Didn't have a wife, didn't have a single child. Still lived where they did more than 20 years before. No ability to write. Couldn't operate the phone. No visitors. Sigh, Corona. And lost in ever-changing wards. Just wishing for death. For the misery to close. No assistance was coming. No support was within reach. It took at least 32 hours before they could see the 10-day follow-up to my TIA. Tai Chi-inspired action. Transient ischemic attack. In whatever way I could, I tried to reclaim lost parts of me. I felt a hopeless case, but all I needed was familiarity. When I finally saw my wife, she had been informed yes was all I could say. She joked with me. So, can I get a dog? Yes. Does this mean I can beat you at Scrabble? Yes. She had the hiccups. Why have you got the hiccups? The yes man broke. I finally spoke. The staff were amazed, but my wife brought me hope. She was my spark, my liberation from inability. She was my energy, my heart. She slowly helped me remember things, like the birthdays of our kids, that my grandparents did not live to see this, but my parents and brother did. She saw me as a person, not a health condition, not a disability, a real boy, not Geppetto's toy, a living, breathing entity, given their humanity. She helped me climb the first step. She lifted me, not physically. I'll never reach the top or get to where I used to be. But while missing it a little can lead many miles astray, the journey can be altered and the destination changed. Thank you.
Wow, okay. What a story. Mark, that was amazing. I don't know about it. I mean, obviously, you get a spoiler because we know that you got your you got your voice back. Let's face it, but still, I don't know about anyone else, but I was just like, oh, I'm next. How did that happen? Just, absolutely caught up. Really immersive. That was amazing. Folks, can we have another round of appreciation, please, for Mark there? Oh, my heart's racing. That was amazing. Okay, so this is our final artist for the night. Can I have an But fret not. Do not be sad. Do not be blue, because this. Are you still the reigning UK slam champion? We don't think that, but he was. Which is very cool, because let's face it, there are a lot of amazing slammers out there, and this is like a national slam championship, and he was like the king. And yeah, he's just, I'm going to try and see if I can encapsulate Rick as an artist in a few words, so I don't make him blush and he can get up here unencumbered by embarrassment. But short version is he's really fucking good. And this is a man who will lead you quietly and softly by the hand into difficult places, and you will feel the right kind of safe because you can trust him, but the right kind of danger for new things that you need to be thinking about. Scary, difficult, important things that need to be put into words. And this man, his articulation is fucking excellent, as I said. I shouldn't really swear, it's not very professional, but actually that's all I've got. It's the best way to do it. It needs that kind of superlatives in strong language. He's got books. You should read them. They are amazing. But before you get to read the books, you get to hear the words, get to witness the voice, the fantastic presence of the one and only Mr. Rick Dove. Please bring him to the microphone.
For years, you bite your tongue. Moderate your rage. Play dumb. Pretend you don't hear what they say. Maintain a dignified silence. Stay quiet in the face of snarling, with your boiling blood one drop polluted with fight and flight where neither is appropriate. This is an office job, not a pub. So you bite your tongue. You ignore the patronizing tones, even though your education, both street and academic, means that you know better than they assume. And they assume they know better than you. You maintain a dignified silence. Allow them to explain how your personal experience is wrong, is far-fetched, and there is familiarity to their contempt. You pretend that shop floor security aren't playing chaperone as you browse. You keep your head down, as not to arouse suspicions already evident. You touch nothing because evidence. You keep calm while explaining for the 1,000th time that day why it isn't okay to profile in this way. It is a heated exchange, and you know why, but play dumb when asked to explain. You bite your tongue. This is not the hill to die on. You respond politely to, "Where are you from?" Again and again and again. Explain the region, then the city, and then the town, and then the street, and then the mother-flipping maternity ward. Reductio ad absurdum, get bored, you go the other way. Explain the country and the continent, the planet, our interstellar neighborhoods, that galaxy of possibilities that they refuse to see. You are never from where they need you to be, and there is familiarity to their contempt, so you bite your tongue. You listen to others explain how you don't belong in the land that you were born, the only one that's ever kept you warm. You keep smiling, a little lopsided now. Your tongue is heavy from all the biting. You smile, but not with the busy teeth, not like the cartoons, not like the Jim Crow ones. You don't dance anymore for fear of compliments. You bite your tongue, you bite your tongue, you bite your tongue. remembering what your parents said once. It's not your job to hold the lantern to show others out of the dark. Until suddenly, one day, you wake at a ripe old age, realize the lantern was never for them or to light their way, it was yours alone, a reminder of the sun. There is familiarity to their contempt, but there is fight and flight upon your tongue. I always like to start with that poem when I can because it's why I write poems, and I think it's why a lot of us write poems, and it's why nights like this are really important, because there are so many things that you want to say to so many people, and very often poetry is the way to get it across. So I'd like to say a massive thank you to Faye, Alan, and the team for putting this together. It's been, yeah. Anyway, while we're having a conversation, this poem is called The Chat. I heard it first at 7, the day they called me Gollywog. And as the word passed these lips to meet Mum's ear, a tear. And every time since then, I'm back there, little boy lost there, wondering when I will grow up, praying and praying like that was ever enough, that this world will too. Strange then that this was too my childhood's end in an 80s living room when Mum and Dad and I had the chat. And my dad tells the tale, regales again and again in his final days about his early years on this isle, how only black in the village was actually a thing, and how it was him, and how on a summer's day, no more than 8, a policeman at the gate came to tell his mum he couldn't go to the corner shop alone again. He hadn't stolen anything. But the shopkeeper, like so many back then, wasn't one for details, except a simple, single one that still holds us back. And later that evening, Granny and Grandad gave my 8-year-old dad the chat. And I rehearse it with a girlfriend. Same night as our first tiff, late on a date about 2003, the year, not the hour, as she suggests we hail a cab, and her privilege hits me there, hits me square, hits me full force in the derriere. I won't be able to flag one here, I snap, snarky, inferring, maybe it should be you in the flooded gutter in your good shoes. And later that evening when we get back and I'm cleaning her boots, she and I have the chat. And this is how it's been for generations. Parents to their children, star-crossed lovers in explanation, in conversation after conversation, spelling out how being black, though having some advantages, will make you a target to some, will put you in the crosshairs of some, will get you treated as lesser by some. And this is something a quartet of Carl Lewis, Linford Christie, Usain Bolt, and Jesse Owens can't outrun. It's a baton that we're still passing. And this is me to you, my son. For that's how I'll have to give it to my boy, saying, I hope this world will grow so you never truly know that feeling of being so conspicuous and yet so small, of representing an entire skin tone all on your own, alone, because I know whenever you feel the weight of that, it'll crush you flat. And you deserve to be on show only when you choose to be. And now you're fully grown and in possession of our truth. I know you will guard it well until it is due, but I hope and pray, like that's ever been enough, that this ends with you. And hopefully one day, a black man merely putting pen to a page or standing on a stage will stop being a political act. But until then, we'll have the chat. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do that poem because it references my dad, who's not very well, is in hospital at the moment. And this is a poem which I included. I didn't know he was still going to be in hospital when I put the set together. So we'll see if we can get through this. This is for him, by your design. A small content warning for dementia. Lucidity is early mornings. and via St. Augustine, by gaslight, you say something wise. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. And I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. But clay feet cling too well to their protection, and this wisdom is the illusion of a stopped clock. As the walls are closing in, this lifetime is passing. For Daedalus designed the labyrinth before his sun flew too high. And stories are like wings, you told me. So I'm waiting for the cyclical nature of things to bring us back to closure, to lucidity in early mornings, which used to be you harrying me to eat any sort of breakfast. And now, on the tray, rattling sabres are a prick test and your insulin, and me with our memories, like bedtime stories, wax wings. Yeah, hospitals can be a bit stressful. So I decided to include a poem on the lighter side of hospitals. And apologies for the pun, this is sonogram, folding the space inside of a name. And suddenly, it is all a search for meaning. Our broadcasting into the dark, a wayfarer's whistle, late night void screaming, awaiting a response, across vast, empty blankness, the absence, awaiting anything recognizable in reply, awaiting something tangible in repeating signals, mirroring some sensory feedback that we can call familiar, that lingers past pareidolia and imagining patterns in the chaos, a Rorschach of the M13 star cluster flickering into blue, resembling life, not as we know it. Nature abhors a vacuum. For we have been firing out messages of a one-sided conversation to inner space via gel and a naked abdomen, and patience as monitors crackle in with residuals flickering before they awaken this echolocation awaiting electrons to resolve for a particle entangled to wave. Hello, Arecibo. And proof of your existence is grainy when it comes, spotty, like the weather on the sun, sizzling black sides on each beep, the whooshing of our universe as she breathes. This is how Rorschachs work. Now I see. On this day of first contact, we gave you a name. Knowing it would be an age before arrival, we calculated dates, rates of survival, saw the universe as teeming for the first time. Realizing everything is a search for meaning, we gave you a name. This is a bit now going into a bit about me and being in hospital, about me, and I'm not going to dwell on reasons, but anyway, this is my 20th birthday, 20th Lucozade. August 1997, yeah, 20th birthday, good looking, yeah, 20 and 97. August 1997 is learning how orange can mean the air is wet, bloodied and jaundiced, a smeared interior monologue spluttering for breath, a belching disintegration, acrid, but hiding the natural depressions of a long, hot city. Cheating sleep with chemical sugars and sweetened endorphins will spawn an undead man walking, a Wimbledon Odeon graveyard shift, a precarious shuffle, collapse, it all under stubborn memory, fade. Radiohead on the Pyramid stage, soaked for 3 days straight, hooked to polythene baggies, fluids in PICC lines, moxifloxacin, learning pneumonia can be complex, a bottle of sunrise at my bedside. And he's back again from the shadow, from behind the sofa of years ago, the old tatty one, before 0% credit for 5 years had expired for decades, slipping through Venetian fingers, peekaboo peering through rock, scissors, paper, all knowing the misnomer for the universal donor, type O, the misreading of 0, how everyone is infected but him. He will include a diagonal strike-through to signify his number. He is immune to the slumber, to the fallible, to the falling, to the gnawing. And he is haunting this space again, in the corner, silently keeping watch. The taste of cortisol is familiar, foreshadows the arrival of these spaced invaders, the takeovers in human clothes, dulled and hollowed, lurching with the lolloping stresses of carrying alien fetuses, and stretched upon their faces the landing strip echoes of encounters too close for comfort. He notices their strange, inculcated phraseologies, the doublespeak, tweaked niche, the new coining, the flippant but unsettling tales overhead. And he's back again from the darkness, waking on the gurney, wondering how the buzz of neon isn't scratching their flesh, concludes it must be the parasites, those rites they are calling wellness and mindfulness, with the devotion of self-flagellating acolytes. There are good drugs suspended in the polythene, and he can feel something inside his chest twitching to burst free. Okay, so I have a dynamic disability, and I have moments of like, do I do this? Do I not do this? Do I go out and perform? Do I not go out and perform? I have to hibernate over the winter very often because my immunosuppressants keep me locked in the house. But the one thing that's always kept me going is the idea of solidarity and other people, and the idea that you do your job and make sure you're doing your job about change and trust other people to do the same. And this is a poem about that. For challenging Canute upon this sand, the world is a turtle on its back. Only together can we flip it. Now give me a lever and somewhere to stand. The world is a turtle on its back. The elephant in the room, its foundations. Now give me a lever and somewhere to stand. Together we can move nations. The elephant in the room, its foundations, with an eternal hunger for the rich. Together we can move nations, shoulder to shoulder, making it flip. With an eternal hunger for the rich, the swell of the ground is rumbling, shoulder to shoulder, making it flip. Send the walls that divide us tumbling. The swell of the ground is rumbling, the world is a turtle on its back. Send the world that divide us tumbling. Now give me a lever and somewhere to stand. The world is a turtle on its back. My leverage is queer, disabled, and black. Now give me a lever and somewhere to stand for challenging Canute upon this sand. So I don't normally do audience participation, but I've got 2 left, and I'm going to do this because tomorrow is a very special day for someone in my family anyway. Does anyone know what the most celebrated holiday is on planet Earth? Hands up. Independence from Britain, absolutely right. Celebrated by 60-odd countries, where averages about one every 6 days, and tomorrow is the Independence Day of Barbados, which is where my mum's from. So. Revolutionaries. Every 6 days, someplace, somewhere, is celebrating independence from here. As in our streets, the people are being arrested for dissent, for being frogs who have dared to notice the weather getting warmer, for being desperate enough to turn the gas off, to get off the fence and refuse to pay rent to the fires still burning. And you and I are snuggling under cover, as placards become petards, as the rhetoric spikes and ignites, the sky falls, and we take a pause to pirouette on a pillow's edge, to turn to each other and confess, I threw a brick once. For we are old enough to remember the fall of empire and a curtain made of iron. So today, having started something, we lie in. Knowing that there will be time before the dancing ends, we hold tight with each step, knowing that if we must dance for our oppressors, then it should be a slow dance to the beat of war drums, to show them the beauty in our threat and the danger of our love. I would also say, just before I finish, this is my last poem. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for the fantastic day. It's been so amazing. And thanks to Faye and Natasha and Mark and everyone that's been involved. Thank you so much, Rose. Hi, everyone on the live stream. This is my last poem. If you take anything away from this, there's a message in this one. Bucket list. Capitalism is putting out fire with a bucket, with a trickle of the hole at the base of it, and having to carry said buckets from the lake edge to the seat of it, the fire, that is. And what is your strategy in this? Is it in a steady stream of half buckets, anxiously and hurriedly, backwards and forwards, forwards and backwards, more than enough to make sure of enough? Or is it more conservatively, to believe you have time to plug the hole before you go, admitting early to that belief that efficiency and a lack of waste, especially in your own energy, is the key? Capitalism is filling the bucket with poured possessions to a raging fire made of need. Capitalism is the bucket maker's greed, selling straw as kindling with black market weed. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Lizer, used to sing to me. That one bucket was enough for Maslow's hierarchy. You used to sing to me, there's a hole in my bucket, dear Lizer, that all abundance is about anxiety around security, about the fear of fire that our news wheels bleed. There's a hole in my bucket, you used to sing to me. My bucket, a hole. Capitalism is black market buckets, reselling buckets to stockpile, to price fix, reading bucket diplomas at bucket universities, studying an amendment in the very definition, all about buckets and straw and a straw man's deeds. Capitalism is a media obsessed with fires, even the ones with deniers, even the ones we started abroad and still sell the straw to free Palestine. Capitalism is the very idea of buckets, with buckets as seeds, and bucket peer-reviewed year-on-year growth in perpetuity, and a bucket salesman arsonist suggesting the blood of refugees is just as good as water, and it's better for your bucket's longevity. It's only thicker when you're family, you see. Capitalism is an endless game of buckets, bucketing down with rain, and when into every life some rain must fall, bucket is panacea, catch-all. Capitalism is our willing acceptance and yet total denial of all of this until we kick it. The bucket, that is. Thank you.
Rick was once voted most likely to start the revolution, and I think we can see why. So on the live stream, someone was going, I need to go and get my dinner. We're like, but it's Rick. And they're like, I suppose if he's that good. And then now they're going, holy shit, he really is that good. And we're like, yes, this is why we were all capsing Rick in the chat there. So yes, there were a lot of in the chat as well. So we should really thank you, live stream, for being as excited as we are here to hear those words and feel that revolutionary spark. Folks, can we have another round of appreciation for the just mastery that was Rick there? What an evening. Good Lord. That just, yeah, that's been amazing. I think we're going to be doing a lot of that. Do you want to come up, Rose? Or yeah?
Keep going back and forth. So we're going to thank people. Right. I think I did last time. Is it on?
Does it have a little red light? Press the thing that says mic. I'm sorry, that sounded really sarcastic, but literally you just press the bit that says mic at the top there.
And they're my friend. Right. Anyway.
No?
Yes. Thank you very much for being here tonight, and thank you very much for tuning in at home. This is very special to Faye and I. We look forward to this all year. We plan on it all year. We look for people to come and be here. We decide what we're going to do. We do all the things, and we think about it a lot. So I really want to thank you for coming out and you at home for tuning in. Also, I really, really need to thank our BSL interpreters, Sarah Cox and Jen Phoenix. Woohoo! Let's go! Amazing. We really want to thank very much our support poets, Mark and Natasha and Sylvia. Woo! And the slide did something strange, but Richard's name has fallen off. But I really want to thank Molly and Richard, who was here, even though he's not on the slide. Yes, very helpful. Very, 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 very helpful.
Wonderful stuff. I would like to thank our sponsors. I know we didn't have time to put this up on the screen because our crowdfunder is still going.
Yes,
we're
actually.
Up to, I think it's £644 now.
Woohoo!
So that's something like 30% of what we need to pay for this. We've also had the people who went on Eventbrite and donated for their tickets there, the people who have bought merch today or have bought it online. Don't worry, it's coming. But I just wanted to say the names I did grab before I drove up the M1. I don't like yes. Just the chuckle there from the people who know the hell that is the M1, especially at the moment. Anyway, these names, anonymous, the many and various anonymous, thank you. Angela Arnold, I'm really regretting leaving my glasses on my chair there. Anne Maguire, Kathy Carson, Dylan Harper, Eleanor Blackburn, Fiona Fiskin, Henry Thorpe, again. Henry supports us pretty much every year. Kate Burney, I think that was on you, right?
Did you need your glasses?
Oh, yes,
off?
that would be fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, let's read this because this is a punishingly small font. Lawrence G. Tilley, Lou Sutcliffe, Neve Lynn DeVere, Sean Fallows, Simon Haynes, Susan Spears, Sylvia, Timothy Horton, Tom Dixon, and Ron McIntyre. There are many more names and many more people we're going to be thanking, but thank you all so much for making this happen and for continuing to make it.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Also to York Late Music.
York Late Music has put an ad into the program. And the York Disability Week will be making a very generous donation. Yes. And also the Wilf Foundation has sent in a check for 100 quid.
Yes.
Yes, which is amazing, amazing. So we're really at about 1,000, and then plus the ticket sales and the Eventbrite sales and the merchandise that you're all going to buy. You're going to leave with armloads, right? And I need to actually thank you, Faye, because every year I really can't do this without you. And I look forward to our chance to be together. It's absolutely glorious, glorious, glorious to spend this time with you every year, Faye. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to thank the amazing Faye Kesby, F.R. Kesby. Thank you. You are stunning. Every year you astonish me. Lovely, lovely. Rick, this is the first time I've heard you. I was putting the PowerPoint together, but wow. Thank you so much. You are amazing. Thank you so, so, so much. So much.
And I concomitantly want to make sure that I take my opportunity to thank Rose. This is all Rose's fault that we're here. Back in 2018, wasn't it? Or just before then, you saying, you know what we could really do with?
Yes.
One of these, because I
Yes.
cannot find one anywhere, so she just made it happen because she's a terrifying force of nature and I'm really glad
Yes.
we're on the same team.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
And they've just kept getting bigger and more accessible and more amazing each year. And again, like you, I just look forward to having this, and I'm hoping that we can expand this. The whole hope that we have is to be able to extend this to different parts of the UK.
Yes.
What was that? We've got someone from Sydney, by the way, tuning into the live stream. So whatever time it is for you, thanks. Yeah,
Wow.
just to expand this, the in-venue version to as many different regions of the UK as we can. That was what the original Arts Council application was for.
You know what? It was to have it in Newcastle.
Yep.
It was to have it somewhere in the Midlands. It was to have it somewhere in Norwich. And it was to have it in York. And also to pay it forward, because this interpretation is an amazing skill. And I wanted to have, and we still will someday, have Terps that are actually trained by others to actually break through into the metaphor-rich language that is poetry. And we want to actually pay the Terps to do it, because we don't want to have you go, oh, but I was going to take this gig at the hospital today. So you'd be paid to come and learn. And that's what we think is really important. So that's what we put into the grant every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And as Rose keeps saying each year, so I'm going to steal it this year, we want people to steal this idea. We love that we're unique, but we don't actually want to be unique.
No, exactly. Every
don't
year I
want
do say this. Steal this idea.
Steal it.
Why
Take
are
it
we
away.
still the only one in the UK and potentially anywhere? Just saying.
Just this needs to be the norm, right? We need to make sure that people can come into an event and not have to think, who am I going to have to bargain with?
Are there
bully,
going to be
assert
stairs?
myself?
Right.
How many questions am I going to have to ask to make sure that I can even get to the microphone?
Yes.
What does wheelchair accessible actually mean?
Yes.
It means I can just get over the threshold and look at everything. I can't get to the loo, I can't get to the bar, I can't.
Or
I
you have
definitely
that
can't get to the
elevator that
stage.
goes up and down. My friend Muriel, are you watching, darling? I know you are. My friend Muriel loves this. And it squeaks up to the top and everyone looks. And she rolls out to do her PowerPoint presentation. Or when we went to the dinner, which is fully accessible and had a fucking staircase. And they offered to carry her down the stairs and she declined. She declined. Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's still the norm in too many places. You know that you have to even ask that it's not even made. You're not even made aware that it's not going to be accessible to you in the first place, let alone people putting the effort into making it accessible. And it is harder in older cities. It definitely is. And it is more expensive to find places, again, shouldn't be, for people to be able to get in and for us to be able to have proper interpretation. But even something as simple as this shouldn't be difficult. We should be having people do this. So steal this idea. Take it, propagate it, go out and put it in other places, you know? And, I don't know, just do your Zoom events with subtitles, just saying. And yeah, that kind of thing, we can do it. We'll just keep leading by example, and anybody who wants to come and ask us how to do this,
Yes,
we'll
actually.
tell them.
Absolutely. Very happy to do that.
Yeah, always.
And the last round of thanks is to Alligraphic and to Sterile Books, which is me and Alan and Emily and York Disability Week. And also thank you to y'all, because you have helped us make this, right? Otherwise it'd just be kind of me and Faye in a room. So thank you very much. We actually, genuinely, when I get up on a stage, I love you. So thank you very much.
Take care, have a good night, we'll see you soon.
Oh my God! Thanks, Sandy. Oh, how did we do
thank you,
this?
Sandy.
Good for you. Yell at me,
Roro.
Sandy. Yell at me, man. Oh,
Yeah, to the live
no,
streamers
are you
wouldn't be
kidding?
live
I
streaming
normally,
if it
I
wasn't for
told you,
Sandy.
I had this thing happen this summer. My boobie gave me cancer. Blame her. She was very bad.
And I have a migraine.
Yeah, that was, the mint tea was amazing. Was there something in it, Sandy? I don't know. It was amazing mint tea. No, Sandy is a live streaming AV god.
Yes.
So there you go.
So go check
Yes.
them out, it's fantastic.
Thank you. Buy some merch. Mama gotta buy a new pair of Poetry for All.
Society, so yeah, buy the merch. Do it. We're done. Thank you all very much.